If you guys don't know what this knife is, well, I think you're long overdue. This is the Spyderco Southard folding knife. It's a Brad. The reason why it's called the Southard is because it's a Brad Southard design. And I guess the reason why I didn't want to sound, I don't know, I don't want to sound like I had an attitude when I opened the video, but the reason why I kind of came in that way is because I think this is a new classic in the knife world, and I don't know if very many people realize it. This knife, and I'll tell you why in this video. That's kind of why I wanted to share it with you. So this is as I mentioned, it's a Brad Southard design. That's why it's called the Spyderco Southard. I believe it's their first flipper knife. I think that's what the material said in the packaging. This came out, I bet probably 10 years ago. I don't know the exact year, probably 10 years ago or more. And yeah, I don't know if there's a black version which you see here, and the 010V means it's a collector's version. So I'll get into that a little bit. So the collector's club is Spyderco. Basically, when they come out with new models, they offer them to collectors to buy, and then they receive the models, I think, a little bit earlier than everybody else. However, the blades have a marking on them that identifies them as collector's club models. So that's what this knife is. I don't typically gravitate towards those because I don't really like the blade markings like that. But I wanted to find one that was mint in box that I didn't have to pay $500 for on eBay. And this one came up, so that's how I ended up with it. The reason why I think this is a new classic is because it's really a combination of materials, blade style, overall knife style, like handle, is the whole package, build quality, and honestly price, even now that these are retired. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more. So this is a Southard design, and if you know any of Brad Southard's work, you can kind of see his design language or aesthetic in this knife. Sort of has a smooth flowing line on the top of the knife there, somewhat thin, and it's just sort of a sleek, very sleek design. Spyderco's done other collaborations with Brad, and they're all nice, but I think this is the best collaboration they've done with him. So it is made in Taichung, Taiwan, which, as I've said in past videos, unequivocally makes Spyderco's best knives in terms of quality, fit, and finish. Because this was their first flipper, the action is not the best. You kind of have to, you sort of have to push button it pretty firm. It will flip open. It's not bad, but it's not like a ZT action. It's not snappy, because you can, if you don't push it hard enough, you can kind of half open it. This one, I'm actually swapping the bearings for taco bearings, which I've swapped on my 0562 as well. I talked about that in my last video, and those are excellent. I had a guy tell me that they're well worth it on this knife as well, so looking forward to doing that. But either way, from the factory, the flipping action is not terrible. It's okay. I mean, it'll open pretty reliably. You can also, according to the literature, open it with the Spidey hole. It's a little bit tougher because it's kind of hard to access, but it is possible. This is CTS 204P steel, which for Spyderco's is pretty rare. You don't really see that very often. I think it's really cool. That's one reason I like this knife so much. So there was a military in 204P that had like forest green handle scales. There was, man, I think they might have done a pair of PM2 in 204P, but I think they did, but it's very rare. It's a very rare model. So Spyderco using 204P is not very common, especially on knives that aren't dealer exclusives. I know the military was, I think the PM2 was as well. And then they did a domino in 204P for Bento Box Shop, which was also an exclusive. So I think that's cool. You see a lot of M390, a lot of 20CV, but you don't see a lot of 204P. I think that's cool. As I mentioned, the design, really nice design. Ergonomics are strong. You can see your index finger sort of rests there on top of the lock bar. The rest of your fingers sort of just nestle into the handle. It does have jimping on the top here. It's not rough. It's a nice resting place for your thumb. And yeah, overall ergonomics are very, very good on this knife. It does have an over travel stop. Oops, sorry about that. So it's nestled around the collar there. And I believe it is G10, but it does serve as the over travel stop, which is kind of cool. Let me think some other highlights of this. You're probably looking at the pocket clip. So this is actually an aftermarket pocket clip. The other one is, the factory clip is not deep carry. I'd say you probably have about that much of the knife sticking out with the factory clip. You can Google it and just see what it looks like. It's pretty straightforward. It's sort of similar in size to this one, like width, but it sort of curves with the knife a little bit more. This is an MXG deep carry clip. It's kind of unique though, because it actually uses the, man, I keep hitting my camera, sorry about that. It uses the standoff screw hole here for one of the screws, and then one of the original clip. So it's using both original clip screws, but it's only using one of the original clip holes. The other hole is actually underneath this clip. So it's a pretty unique design, but I wanted this because I like deep carry clips. And you can see here, you're basically not going to see any of the knife. And I like the blue a lot. And I know MXG makes nice clips, so yeah, so cool steel, nice design, good ergonomics. Fit and finish, as I mentioned, is excellent. That's another reason why I think this is a new classic. So you can see here, lockup is about 50%. Blade centering on this one is just about, man, I keep hitting that camera. Just about perfect on this guy. The blade grind is really nice. Nice and even. Little bit wider at the tip, but with this blade style, you can expect that. But as I said, Spyderco's Tai Chung plant just knocks it out of the park every single time. They just make really excellent knives. The only thing I can think of that comes out of that facility that's not excellent at times are the flippers and just the flipper actions. This one is pretty good, and the dominoes are good. But I've handled some that are not very, very good. I don't know. I think the sliver axe, that might be a Taiwan, but that action was bad on that knife. So anyway, I digress. So yeah, let's see, any other highlights for you guys. This scale is titanium, and then there's a titanium liner on the other side, but it's covered with G10, so sort of unique there. It's asymmetrical in terms of the thickness, which is kind of cool. And yeah, you can see the lock bar cutouts there. Lockup solid. Again, going back to the Tai Chung Spyderco quality. And yeah, it's just a really cool design. And let me grab my ZT for comparison. Don't know why I just put that back. But here's a size comparison for you. So it's not a huge knife. Let me make sure. Yeah, so it's not a huge knife. Lengthwise, it's about the same as the ZT. It has a little more of a curvature to it. Blade length is about the same, maybe a little bit smaller. I think it's probably a little thicker than the ZT. Let's do a quick comparison here. Yeah, it's definitely thicker than the ZT. Weight-wise, I'd say it's a little bit lighter. I don't know, ounce-wise where we're at, but a little bit lighter than the ZT. And then profile in the pocket, you can see here, pretty similar to the ZT, maybe a little bit shorter, but yeah, so there's your size comparison. So anyway, this is the Spyderco Southard flipper. Again, they're no longer available. They retired these a while back, but you can find them on the secondary market for $200 and, you know, around $200 maybe. It just depends on the condition. This one was $275, but it was brand new in the box, which those are pretty hard to find. And yeah, if you guys haven't checked these out, for sure do so. They are excellent knives, especially being able to swap the bearings for taco bearings. I would highly recommend checking these out. And it's a shame that Spyderco doesn't make them anymore. So anyway, if you guys have any comments or questions, you know, please leave them below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you on the next one. We'll see you.